The first thing I want to discuss is the plot that we just acquired in Majan, 24 million dirhams. Now, here's the real question. How do I know, inshallah, that this is a brave and a calculated move and not a reckless and a foolish one? Because let's be honest here, guys, at some points of your life, in your business, in your career, you'll be at a crossroads, staring at a big move, high stakes, big risks, and the line between bravery and recklessness just gets thinner and thinner and thinner. So how do you make sure you don't cross the line? These are the 3 principles that I follow every single time I'm about to deploy some serious capital. And these 3 filters allow me to move forward with precision and courage and not impulse and ego. Because let's be real, guys, bravery is knowing and understanding the risk and then moving. Recklessness, just jumping in blind and hoping that it works out. So here are the 3 principles that guide our investment decisions and help me say yes to Majan with clarity and not chaos. Assalamu alaikum, guys. I just finished Salah here at the masjid and I'm walking to my office right now, which is literally right here. And this is the masjid. Alhamdulillah. So I couldn't be grateful enough for all the wins that we've been having, alhamdulillah, in the last 30 days since my last Umrah. One of the biggest wins is, of course, getting this office location, which I've been eyeing for a long time. Literally just 3 minutes walk to the office and I'm able to pray Zuhr to Isha in this masjid because that's when I'm in the office. But due to these wins, there are many other wins, alhamdulillah. I was reflecting on 3 points that I wanted to share today with you guys. The first one being just the subtle difference between bravery and recklessness. Difference is very subtle. It's a very important difference. Second one being not to reinvent the wheels, but spin the existing one faster, further, and towards new direction. The third one, we have heard it many times, to not become jack of all trades and master of none. And as I walk to the office, I'll go dive deeper into these and hopefully share some reflections and lessons with you guys. Stay tuned. Principle number 1, create a process that is disciplined, dispassionate, and robust. Okay, what do I mean by it? But before I jump into it, I want to share with you guys a story that actually inspired me to become like this and have an investment process like this. That goes back to 2015. And this is when Mr. Razi Muhyiddin, one of my esteemed clients from California, he was acquiring dozens, if not hundreds of properties in Michigan. And I was doing it all for him. I was his real estate agent, construction manager, property manager, taking care of the whole deal because he was in California. The first couple of times he flew down to check out the properties to make sure that we were establishing a process. Then I would just do everything, send them everything over there, take care of everything in Michigan, right? So there's a little incident that happened that actually changed my life for good, okay? So what happened was, because we're buying all these properties, and at that time I did not own my own escrow company or title company. So we're using, of course, you have to use escrow companies for escrow, title, and settlement, right? Now, Brother Razi had a preferred title company. He said that use this title company for every single deal. I was like, sure. We were using that title company for most of the deals. I did not quite understand the reason behind using one title company for all the process at that time, all the closings. But he said, use it. So I was using it, right? But it was not a priority for me. Okay, so one of the deals, just as a negotiation tactic, I told the seller that, hey, we're going to use your title company just to make it easy to close the deal. And that's how we got the offer accepted under contract. Closing time comes. Now, Brother Razi needs to wire the funds for closing. And he usually wired the funds to where? To the escrow company, right? So when he gets the closing documents to review, it did not have his preferred title company's name. Not that he was getting any kickbacks or anything like that, okay? That's why it was not a priority for me. But check this story out, guys. So it did not have the preferred title company's name, and also the wire instructions were clearly going to a different title company. So he calls me, and I pick up the call. It's his call. I pick up the call. I have never heard his voice ever like this, man. He was so mad. He was so mad. And mashallah, he's a very practicing, mashallah, Muslim brother. He was so mad. I just felt like he wants to just chew me and eat me alive over the phone, or do something crazy. It's like, what happened? It was like, why? He was screaming at me. He was yelling at me. Why aren't we using the X title company? Basically, his preferred title company. Why are you using this? He just went off at me. And I'm the kind of person, even my parents, when we were growing up, they never yelled at me. My father never yelled at me. They explained what's right and wrong, and we just did it. What's right and wrong, right? So I was not used to this. And I almost felt like I'm going to cry on the phone. Literally. I was like 22, 23 years old. And, very passionate, very jolly, trying to make things happen. And you get, not cursed, but like nothing short of cursing, right? I got very upset. I got very sad. I was like, this does not make sense. How does that make? I'm doing all these things for him, working hard, and he's picking. I was thinking he's picking on a small thing, and he's just going off at me. How does that make sense? It literally took me years to realize, and this is how it all relates. You guys will be thinking, okay, he just said principle number 1 is what? Be disciplined, dispassionate, and robust in your process. And then he went on a tangent on a story. No, it all relates, guys. Why Brother Razi was mad, it took me years to understand because I was not playing the game at his level at that time, mashallah, right? So anytime you are making these big moves, high stakes, big risk, you need to have a process in place, okay? An actual process. And you have to make sure that process is not a passionate process, because we human beings are passionate by nature. And especially if we like something, we like real estate, we're passionate about it. We like real estate in Dubai, we're passionate about it. We like real estate in Medina, we're passionate about it. Now, that's normal. We're humans. But if our process is also very passionate, it's going to be a disaster before we even start, right? So the process has to be robust. It has to be disciplined. And most importantly, it has to be dispassionate. So for Brother Razi, what was important was that it's a process. He's not sending, wires to multiple different title companies for every single transaction, because it's a hiccup to the process. Now he has to add the new recipient to the bank, wait for it to get approved, then send it, then make sure it's the right account information. There's no wire fraud. These are extra steps. And imagine he has to do those extra steps with random title companies for every single transaction. He's buying hundreds of properties. Just that one bottleneck is going to throw everything off and away, right? So that's why the processor taught me a crazy lesson. And we're implementing this now at everything that we're doing. Just that principle that I took, it took me a couple of years to learn, but now going back at it, that was the best yelling of my life from an investor. And I appreciate and I'm grateful to Brother Razi. I don't know if he knows or even if he remembers that incident, honestly, but it did help me a lot. So make sure, guys, when you are creating any life big decisions, but for me, it's real estate and investment. So when we're making these investment decisions, we have a very robust, very dispassionate, and very disciplined process. So every investment we make, every deals we underwrite goes through a lens of logic and not emotion. We pressure test the deal as if we're putting it in a furnace. When I'm underwriting a deal, our goal is to kill the deal so the deal never goes live. Okay? But even after all this scrutiny, while we're trying to massacre, slaughter, and kill the deal, it still survives. It still lives. That's the deal we're going after. So our process, we keep it almost like clinical to the level that we're dispassionate about it. Principle number 2, never do anything to impress anyone, not even yourself, okay? So it's like the example of, let's say you're playing basketball, okay? And you have the ball. As long as you have the ball, keep passing it, keep passing it, keep passing it, while your opponents get impatient and they're trying to just shoot the ball from a three-pointer. Well, the percentage is very low of actually getting a three-pointer inside the net, right? But instead, what you do is, as long as you have the ball, you keep passing, you keep passing, you keep passing. Then when you get the opportunity, you pass the ball to that 7-footer guy standing in the middle of the ring and just dunk it, right? So you have to wait for an opportunity that's a clear dunk. Until then, you don't do anything to impress anyone because you'll be under a lot of pressure. Where's the next deal? Where's the next deal? Investors calling you, your partners calling you, everybody. Society putting pressure, this guy's not doing anything. Maybe he's out of the game. Where's the next deal? He's not doing anything. It took me 8 months. Since we closed Dubai South, it took me 8 months to find our next deal at Majan. I went through, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of deals. But we were just passing the ball. We were looking for that opportunity because we have a very disciplined, very robust, very dispassionate process, but we're also killers. We're ready to make the strike when the opportunity arises, okay? But keep passing the ball. And I actually learned that from many, many mistakes that I've made in life, okay? But what it basically trying to impress others and more importantly, trying to impress yourself, okay? So you make rash decisions. One of them being not recently, like 2 years ago, for our brokerage, we made a choice, we made a move to partner up with EXP. That's another brokerage, another model. And it was a lot of the decision was made under peer pressure, trying to impress people. A lot of lessons learned. One of the lessons is I don't try to do anything anymore to impress anyone, not even myself. I don't care about impressing anyone at this point. Also, like for example, my service lighters investments. So all those things, all those lessons are actually coming in fruition. Okay, the mistakes that I made on my dime with my money, alhamdulillah, is helping out on these bigger moves. The service lighters investment, I made a video about it. That was also to impress others. Okay, an investment decision I made to impress others. It never works, guys. So be patient, keep passing the ball. When the opportunity arises, it's going to be a slam dunk. Number 3 principle, depersonalize and de-risk. Any business decisions cannot rely on one person's moods, skills, or gut feeling, not even mine. That's why we have a 17-point underwriting criteria that every deal must meet. We have an investment committee that we have created that the deal passes through, and the mission of that committee is with logic, with data, with evidence to kill the deal. Their compensation is not based on how many deals we get under contract and how many deals we close. They have a good salary and their job is to research and kill the deal after it passes through the 17-point underwriting criteria. Then when we debate it out, all the points they bring, we put it through the furnace again, then it has to make sense again, right? But the whole point is depersonalize it, de-risk it. Just because you brought the deal to the table does not mean it is the right deal. It is the best deal, and we have to work it out. There's just no ego involved here. The decision-making has to be completely depersonalized and de-risked. Now, the second reflection I want to share with you is don't try to reinvent the wheel. There are plenty of wheels around us. Our job as entrepreneurs is to spin them faster, further, and towards new direction. Now, you might be wondering, what do I mean by this? Well, once the foundation is set for any business, right, it's time to scale. But scaling does not necessarily mean that we have to do things differently. Scaling means doing the foundational things over and over again, but flawlessly at a bigger level. And how can we do it? Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, number 1 stage is we should tap into talents, right? Bring them in the organization and guide them, inspire them, teach them, show them how to spin the same wheel, but faster, at higher speed, with more accuracy, right? So for example, we are building a team we already have 4, but we're scaling it from 4 to a team of 30 analysts. We're not calling them brokers, we're calling them analysts, okay? Their job is to sit in our brokerage and analyze deals, bring land to the table. Their job is to say more no's than they ever say yes. They'll be built that way, they'll be trained that way. For example, Blackstone, how did it become a $1.2 trillion organization? Did you guys know the co-founders only invested, not only, but in the large scale of things, $400,000 each from their pocket? Then one of the co-founders, Pete, when he retired, his check was $1.9 billion to buy out his share. So from $400,000 to $1.9 billion, right, when he retired. And the other co-founder who's still operating the organization, the CEO, Stephen Schwartzman, he rakes in about $1 billion every year in compensation that includes his salary, incentives, and stock dividends. So how did they build a mega organization in that scale? Well, if you look at their works, they're not doing anything different. They did not invent any new wheels. They did not reinvent, I should say, any new wheels, right? What they did is the existing wheel, which is investments in alternative assets, real estate, those investments, they just became the best of the best by tapping into talents. And Stephen Schwarzman famously says, or once said, I read in an interview, that the organization that I have created, Blackstone, it wouldn't even hire me now. That's the level of their team members and associates. I also want to build an organization that in the next 10 years, if that organization was to interview me, I wouldn't be hired. For example, even the aluminum factory we're doing, the supervisor I brought on table, man, he has been in this industry for almost 3 decades, but primarily in Dubai for the last 15 years, doing the same thing over and over again. Aluminum manufacturing, fabrication, and installation, supervising at a high level for other companies. My real estate career is 15 years, and this man has been a supervisor just in this specific industry for 15 years, let alone the whole experience, right? The point I'm trying to make is, we, instead of trying to reinventing the wheel, we as entrepreneurs need to hire talent. There are plenty of wheels around us, right? These are the talents. We need to bring them on board. We need to tap into their talent and push them so that they could achieve things faster at a bigger scale towards new directions. And on the same note, we're the team that we're bringing in for our development, right? The consultant that we hired. You guys know the famous building, Sheikh Rashid Tower. It's actually a landmark of Dubai. If I'm not mistaken, it's on 100 dirham note, the Sheikh Rashid Tower. So that consulting firm, that architect, had designed Sheikh Rashid Tower back in the days. So we're bringing that team to become our consultant. So I'm tapping into 5-6 decades of experience, right? I don't have to reinvent the wheel again, right? Second, our law firm, Al-Sakhlawi and Company, the founder, Mr. Yusuf Sakhlawi, who leads the team, he was the chief prosecutor of Ministry of Justice for UAE, I think for 10 years. Then he was the executive director for Dubai Customs, Dubai Airport Customs. So we're bringing his team, his expertise for the legal framework, right? So I don't have to reinvent the wheel again. The third, our Sharia board that we're comprising, you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised and happy with all the people that we're putting in place in our Sharia board to make sure that everything we're doing is Sharia compliant, from the way we analyze deals to the contracts and to everything has to be halal, organic, and wholesome. Now you might be wondering, Sam, look, I understand everything, but putting such a stringent process in place and all these criterias and all these things, wouldn't you miss out on some winners, some great deals? Honestly, probably yes. Okay. But what's more important to me at this stage of my career is I'm okay in losing 10 winners, but I'm not okay with taking one loser deal that's such a catastrophic loser. It damages my reputation, capital, investors' money, and one deal like that will blow me out of the park with no repairable solution. There's no way I could mend it. So I would rather lose 10 winner deals, but not jumping in on that one catastrophic of a loser deal. Look, in our field, in our investment field, right, there is no 99% accuracy. It has to be either 100 or 0. If it's not 100% accurate, if a person misses on the spreadsheet on our underwriting criteria, without going into too many details, out of the 17 underwriting criteria, it's mostly AI that looks at it. We have created that system. But still, when a person is underwriting after that goes through that system, if they miss a 1 decimal point or something they do on that spreadsheet, a minor mistake can make or break millions. We can lose millions because of a simple mistake. So there is no room for 99% accuracy. It's either 100% or 0. If it's not 100%, you're out of the team. Because at this stage, growth is important, but preservation is more important for me. Right? So we want to grow, but we want to preserve what we have created at the same time. And this is why we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to get people on board who can move the wheel, spin the wheel faster, who can spin the wheel further. Now, the third thing I want to talk to you about is very, very important. Jack of all trades, master of none. Now, when you operate like that in investment world, not only you lose focus, but your investors lose confidence in you. Now, let me explain this to you. When you start taking on things completely outside of your vertical in your industry, like launching random businesses, taking on completely unrelated ventures, chasing the next shiny objects, it sends completely wrong signal to your investors and capital partners. And this is what it tells them. It tells them, I'm bored, I'm scattered, I'm not focused on the things that you guys are betting on me with. You are putting money on me, but I'm not able to execute because I don't find it interesting anymore. I want to launch that random business. This brother bought this opportunity. I want to get on this. I want to get on that. It's a complete chaotic signal that you're sending to your capital partners. And if you're wondering why you're having a hard time raising investment for your next project, it's maybe not the project. The project could be awesome, but people are watching. They won't comment, but they're watching. And they'll see that this man has completely lost focus and just chasing random things that has nothing to do with their vertical. And guys, this is not a modern principle. This goes all the way back to all the entrepreneurs that pretty much built America. For example, Henry Ford. Once, if I'm remembering the incident correctly, all the journalists, like a lot of journalists, gathered together just to show that Henry Ford is not a smart man. So they were asking him a lot of general questions. And he was not actually able to give answers to any of those general questions, right? Then he just looked at the journalists and say, why should I spend my time and resources to learn these general questions when I can just, from my office, call a man, press a button, he said, call a man, and who can answer all these questions for me. The point is, Henry Ford did not focus on generalized knowledge. He isolated his focus on specialized knowledge. Instead of being jack of all trades, he became the master, almost synonymous to one trade, which is automobile. Look, general knowledge might make you sound smart. You can get some click bites on social media. People might start following you. You're so smart, but it does not make you wealthy. Okay? General knowledge might give you the next paycheck, but specialized knowledge will give you the next payout. So in my humble effort, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to dominate one field, one industry, and become an authority in it instead of tiptoeing on 5 different fields. Because in this business, brothers, in this business, divided focus means diluted returns, and investors can smell distraction from miles away. Alhamdulillah, thank you so much for staying all the way through the video and watching. But before you guys leave, I wanted to quickly show you the view from our office. Alhamdulillah. So that's the beautiful masjid, beautiful recitation, walking distance. And this is the beautiful ocean. And of course, the hustling and bustling of Dubai. If you guys want a tour of our office, let us know and I'm going to shoot it on our next video. Until then, stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum.